Good evening, everyone, and happy post-Thanksgiving. Hope everyone is nice and full on some food because we're going to talk some movies. And if you got your munchies, you got your drinks, you got everything you need for this.
Happy Black Friday, y'all.
Oh, yeah, it's also Black Friday. That doesn't have anything to do with food, so.
No.
Hopefully you got your shopping done, and now it's time for the dessert of the evening. Welcome to the Marquee. We are the Cinefanatics. My name's Robert Adams.
And I'm the dessert of the evening. I'm sorry, I'm Chris Adams.
That was not an image I needed. Thank you.
I don't know what image that put in your brain.
You don't want to know. Moving on, anyways. This is the Marquee. This is a tier ranking show where we're going to tier rank, in this case, 15 movies that have something to do with food or cooking or something like that. Just because yesterday was Thanksgiving, a whole lot of cooking was done yesterday. Now let's talk about the movies that showcase all that cooking and eating and gluttony and just all those
Yummy.
warm feelings. Without any of the family talking about politics, hopefully. We'll see.
Or the tryptophan.
The tryptophan will definitely kick in by the end of this. I'm going to be like dead tired. Let's go. Before we get started, first of all, I want to say thanks to everyone watching right now. Those of y'all that are here at the top of the show, we very much appreciate you. I'm sending each of y'all a gold bar. Probably not. I can't afford that, but just think if I could, I would.
It's a chocolate bar wrapped in some very cheap gold foil.
Yes. If I could, I would. So, I mean, just
please leave your address in the chat and we'll copy it. Don't put your address in the chat. Please don't put your address in the chat. I'm just kidding. Do not put your address in the chat.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. The YouTube things. People, if y'all have any questions, comments, issues, complaints, Streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics is a good place to make sure we know what you want us to know. Also, as we're going through this, if you want to share your rankings as well, throw them in the Streamlabs. We will read those off at the end of the episode once we're done with all of our rankings, so we can see kind of like where you compare and whatnot. Those of y'all that are part of our Patreon, on our Discord, I am posting up the list of movies. So therefore, if you are a part of that Patreon, you already know the 15 movies we're ranking. Otherwise, the movies that you know of that are on here are the ones that were on the thumbnail. So there's a bunch
and the
more
rest
still.
Are a surprise.
Yes. So as we're going along, feel free to toss in your rankings on Streamlabs Patreon. If y'all would like to help us out, if you have the means, please don't put yourself out for it. But yeah, feel free to help us out. Jump on the tier that's good for you. Patreon.com/Cinefanatics. We very much appreciate it. Anyways, this is going to be 15 food movies, like I said. Is there anything else we need to cover before we actually get into the meat and potatoes of it?
You just wanted to say the meat and potatoes.
No, actually, in all honesty, I started the sentence, is there anything else we need to cover? And as I started saying that, I thought of meat and potatoes. I was like, that fits.
Nah, let's put another shrimp on the Barbie and get it going.
Okay, that one was forced, obviously.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it, though.
Man, I know there was something else I wanted to talk about. I wanted to say. I forgot what it was. Anyways.
Big gulps, huh? Oh, see you later.
See you later. Anyways, let's jump into the rules. Is Johnny here, or is he still asleep from napping?
He's a little groggy, but I think he's got it.
All right, Johnny, take it away. Johnny.
Welcome to the Marquee. I'm not really feeling this, but tonight's rules, I guess you're going to have 2 films per tier. There's 15 movies that are ranking. 3 tiers can have 3 films, and Robert looks like the waddle of a turkey. I'm out. You know what a waddle is?
Like this thing.
Yeah. Apparently you look like one of those. I don't think that's true, but Johnny's just a crazy knucklehead, it seems.
The thing that hang like sleeve of wizard.
Oh my God. Okay. No, we're not ranking Borat. Stop it.
That's great. Anyways, so that's the rules for tonight. That is what we're going to be doing. Freaking Garth posts the address to the hospital that he's in. Good job, Garth. That was very, very well done.
Wow.
Why do I not look bright? And don't answer that.
Johnny? Oh, Johnny's back out again. No. Okay. Hey, I'm sure he would have had something to say about it.
Oh, I bet he would, bastard. Anyways. Turn up the lighting a bit. All right. Let's go ahead and bring out the marquee. As soon as I see where is Carl. Carl. Hit it, Carl. And there's the marquee board. So this is how it's going to work. We're going to introduce these 15 movies one at a time. And my brother, that's what I was going to talk about. I'll go ahead and talk about it now. My brother and I are going to give our opinions of these movies. Because there's only the two of us on this stream tonight, that means we are going to be asking for audience participation. We've done this before. As my brother and I are talking about our opinions of the movie, there will be a poll up in the chat. Feel free to select which tier you would like to add it to, and we will combine all of them at the end of talking about the movie, and that's where we'll determine where its place will go. Does that make sense? Anyone have any questions? I don't know. I can't hear you, so we're just going to move on. I like this, Jeremy Miller. Next year could be about family movies or just Fast and Furious.
You know, I thought about Fast and Furious. At some point, though, there's going to be another Fast and Furious movie, and we might do it then. But
we're very likely going to do it then.
I also kind of like doing Fast and Furious movies during a family gathering holiday.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
We'll see how it turns out. If we know for certain that Fast and Furious 11 is the final one, we may wait for that and just tier rank all the whole series, including Hobbs and Shaw. So yeah. We'll see. We'll determine that. But I definitely want to rank some Fast and Furious movies in the future. Anyways, I did not fix something or another. Give me 1 second. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties here.
We're only professional here at Cinefanatics. It's only professionalism. I'm going to go ahead and vamp and talk about professionalism. I got nothing else to say. I'm not that professional. But, we do what we can.
We got an order that we're doing these, and I didn't put them in order on the marquee diagram here. So I'm just going to take a little extra time in between movies to scroll up and down and find them. But
this close.
I am going to do them in order. So basically, again, we're going to take these 15 movies. We're going to tier rank them with S being the top, meaning superb, F meaning F that movie. And just,
that's not what F means.
Yeah, whatever. Anywhere in between is where they can go. As Johnny said, there's going to be at least 2 per tier, but 3 tiers could have 3 movies. That's where we're going with it. So let's start off with our first movie. And I just scrolled away from it too. Dumbass.
Nice. We got it.
We are on top of it tonight. First movie that we are going to rank is 1971's classic Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Chris, we'll go ahead and start with you tonight.
Yes, and while I'm beginning, we also have the poll up in the chat. For those of you who are currently watching live, you may vote in the poll where you would rank this movie on the list. Keep in mind, we do have 15 movies we're going to be going through. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This, for me, I don't know if it's... I can't remember if this is one of those movies that has aged well for people or not. If there's problematic parts, I can't remember. I know for me, this is still a classic. This is still one of those that I really don't like seeing it readapted or touched or done something new with it, which is why I wasn't a huge fan of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, even though that one is a little bit more faithful to the original book. This one though it's just a good, solid classic movie. I'm looking at, just this is kind of like childhood. This is one of those movies you grew up with that you took in and you got to experience as a kid. You were frightened about a chicken getting its head cut off in a crazy light up tunnel. You really wondered if each one of those kids actually made it out alive. There was no indication in the movie whether they did or not.
No.
It's the only thing I actually kind of like about the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is that you did see them leave the Chocolate Factory, twisted and weird as they were. But you did see them leave, so you assume they were okay. This one, though...
The the true spirit of things. Thanks,
hey,
Garth.
you know, hey, from what we know, they're not enslaved. They wanted to be there. They're getting paid a good salary. They're getting great benefits. They have a great home. They get to eat chocolate all the time. What a life. They got a great life. I want to go be one of them. Anyway. Yeah, so as far as this movie goes, though, like I kind of do want to like talk on the food aspects of each of these movies too, since we're ranking food movies.
Yeah.
All the candy, every bit of this movie, I want to eat everything that's in it. All my teeth will fall out.
The room that they're in when he's singing Pure Imagination, I don't care about the rest of the factory. I just want to have free reign of that room.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was, but like even in the picture on here, that mushroom with the white dots they show, I forgot who it was who's doing it, but someone is like scooping out the white dots and eating. I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah. That brings us to our next movie. No, never mind. So yeah, I love it. It's good. There are. This seems to be like a common theme, a common phrase we say during the Marquee. There's a few movies on this list that I just like more and I just would put ahead of it. So this one does not actually fall in my S tier, but it does go in the A tier because of the nature of its classicness. Gene Wilder, come on. This is like peak Gene Wilder, one of the peak Gene Wilders. Not counting anything he did with Mel Brooks. But it's just a solid classic. It's a solid A for me.
Yeah. Pretty much everything you just said. I agree with all of that. This was a movie like definitely of my childhood as well. I love this movie. It's classic. I do agree. I'm not hugely fond of the Tim Burton Johnny Depp version, even though it is more faithful to the book. And I kind of like it diving into like the history, the background of Willy Wonka. That one I thought was actually kind of interesting. Otherwise, Brian Nussbaum says it was Mrs. TV that was eating the mushroom. That figures. Then watch some TV. Anyways, yeah, this movie's classic. This is one of my S tiers. Easily.
So I got it at A, you got it at S, and the chat has voted for an S tier on it as well.
It is going into S.
By the way the poll system is going to work, guys, is I'm going to stop the poll when it seems that we have a majority vote on one of the choices compared to the number of viewers that I currently see watching the program. So that is the way that will work. So make sure you get your vote in when I say the poll is live. That way it can be counted.
All right. So next one that we're going to, and the reason my brother was saying, look at the next movie, the white stuff that apparently Mrs. TV was eating out of that mushroom. Y'all know what it is. It's y'all's favorite and ours, or at least mine. It is the one, the only, the stuff. The stuff. I feel like at this point, it's my goal to somehow figure out a way to put the stuff on every single marquee. Like,
please don't.
Please don't.
Please don't.
If we're ranking like Steven Spielberg movies, I'll find some way for this to relate to Steven Spielberg. So I don't know.
No, absolutely not.
Do you want to? So we're going to do this live on air. Chris, would it be easier for you as far as running the poll to always go first?
It might be easier for me to go second.
You want me to go first on all these then?
Yeah, just because I can be typing up the poll at least while you're going.
That works. Working things out live on camera. Oh, it's nice. Y'all see how shows like this put together. If y'all ever want to make a show like this, you know what to do. The stuff. I mean, here's the thing with stuff. I really don't need to talk about it. Y'all all know I love this movie. This movie is stupid. This movie is silly. This movie is endlessly quotable. I will put this movie up almost. I'm going to watch what words I'm using here. Almost as high as Princess Bride, as far as quotes go. Now, granted, that almost is like a huge effing margin, but
no.
Still. Yeah, I love the stuff. It's so much fun. I've quoted it so many times on previous marquees. Every time I see the stuff on a marquee, I want some mo. So I have this as an A. This will always be a perpetual A. The downside and the reason why my brother's making that face is there are some really good movies on this list that by any and all means of anyone else that has like even half a brain if they like pina coladas, food drink, that that was nicely done, that they should be ranking higher than the stuff. It's just I feel like I have a personal connection to the stuff now and I just love it. It's a great movie. It's A. Chris,
there is absolutely zero reason this movie should be anywhere above an F tier on this list.
All right, Chris is going to put it in F.
It's F. I'm not even going to sit here and describe why. Literally every other movie on this list is an actual decently to well-made movie. This is the stuff.
Yeah, it is.
There's a reason it's got 2 Fs in it. Put it in the F tier. I said that without looking at what's the rest of the okay. There's not 2 Fs in the rest of the movie titles. Okay. Yeah, no. This movie does not deserve to be above literally any other movie on this list. This is just this movie has the nature of campy whatever, but that does not pass anything because everything else on this list is a better made movie.
Some of us just want to watch the world burn, and then we want to roast marshmallows over it.
You're asking for complete chaos right now.
Chaos incarnate. Anyways, so I got S, you got F,
and the chat is also voting F. Because the chat is smart tonight.
No, chat.
The chat is smart. Your stupid A, though, is going to put it at the bottom of D, which means that, look, it's going to shift to F. This is going to end up, mark my words, this is going to end up in F at the end of the night. There's no way. There's no way.
Well, I know what 2 I'm putting in F, and the 2 I want to put in F, I feel very much deserve to be in F. So,
I'm actually curious as to which 2 you want to put in F.
Well, one of them.
Well, I know one of them. Okay, yeah, hold on. I know one of them for sure.
Well, one of them I made abundantly clear on Twitter right after I got done watching it.
And you know what's fun about that one is
you like it.
I'm not close to an F. Well, I'm not close to an F on that one. I'm definitely higher than an F on that. That's gonna be fun. That one's gonna be fun when we get to that one. Keep watching.
Anyways, next one is I'm trying to think if I can do the voice. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order? No. I feel like that was pretty good. It at least sounded good in my head. Nickelodeon's Good Burger. Yeah. Well, that was weird. Anyways, so I guess I'll start this one. Here's the thing. I am of the age that I absolutely adored watching Snick. For those of y'all that are of certain age, certain tastes, I would say, you know that Snick was the famous Saturday night Nickelodeon.
Good time.
Meant for like teenagers to enjoy. So
it was a good time.
Yeah, Snick was. I love Snick. You had all that. You had the Secret Adventures of Alex Mack. You had.
Side note, freaking the 90s television on the weekend, fantastic. You had TGIF on ABC, and then you had Snick on Saturday.
Yeah, easily.
Yo.
That was the dream right there. I wish that still happened nowadays. But I loved that. You had Are You Afraid of the Dark was so good. Oh, I loved it. But I loved all that. All that was it was basically Saturday Night Live, but for kids, teenagers. They really didn't do anything too racy. They would do stuff like if your parents were watching, might raise an eyebrow, kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but nothing really that bad. One of the skits was the Good Burger skit that was constantly repeated. Had Kel Mitchell and I don't know who this other guy is. I haven't seen him do anything popular like lately. So
shut your face.
Anyways, Kenan Thompson, of course. You had Kel Mitchell playing this character of Ed, who was a complete idiot. working at a fast food restaurant, which they were basically making out to sound like that if you worked at a fast food restaurant, you were probably a complete idiot, and the customers were like somewhat intelligent, depending on the skit. The thing with this, though, is it was really funny as like a 5-minute skit on all that. As like an hour and a half long feature film, not so much. Like I get the idea that the film made it where we saw the stupid character of Ed outside of the Good Burger restaurant. So not only do we get to hear how dumb he is interacting with customers at work, now we get to see how dumb he is interacting with anyone. So I get the idea behind that, and it's a funny idea. But the thing is it only lasts for so long until you're like, okay, this guy's just way too stupid. It's making my head hurt. I am not a fan of this movie. I love the Good Burger skit on all that, but not a fan of the movie at all. Tori, we will not talk shit about Good Burger. It's not that entertaining. It like the gimmick of it lasts like about 10-15 minutes, and then I'm done with the movie. So this is one of my 2 Fs. Sorry. Chris?
You put The Stuff in A and Good Burger in F.
Yes, I did.
I am shutting this channel down. That's the end of this channel right there. No. Good Burger is akin to one of the like SNL skits. If an SNL skit was turned into a movie, this is effectively the Nickelodeon version of that. You're taking what is basically an SNL skit and all that skit and turning it into a movie. And in that, there's naturally going to be some issues with, hey, what are you going to actually do with the story? Because the skit works in a bubble on all that, where it's a very enclosed, like we're in a fast food restaurant, we're just getting some brief interactions and we're moving on. Mm-hmm. In a movie, you have to actually do something that not only highlights the fun aspects of these characters, but specifically Ed, but you also have to do something that works story-wise for at least an hour and a half. For the most part, I thought they did a good job with what, you could do with a kid audience, essentially. So you're taking a skit that's made for kids and you're turning it into a movie that's also made for kids. How do you expand on that? You give them this like crazy adventure. It was just a fun dynamic. It was just a fun dynamic to take these characters outside of the fast food restaurant and do something with them. Do something kind of adventurous with them. For me, I do like Good Burger. I actually, I didn't rewatch it again prior to doing this, Marquee, but I do kind of want to watch it again at some point. Just it might be one of those that, if it's streaming somewhere, I'll just throw it on at some point. It's just going to be easy to throw on. It's definitely like, again, as a movie, it's definitely made better than The Stuff. It's definitely made better than The Stuff. I feel like I'm going to be saying that for every single movie, so I can drill this into your head. It's definitely better than The Stuff. However, compared to a lot of other movies on this list, which are, from a script writing to cinematography, directing, acting, everything standpoint, it doesn't equal some of these other movies that are on this list. And so for me, I do have it in the middle of the pack here at the C tier.
Okay. So right now, between the two of us, it's going into D. What did the audience think?
The audience likes to troll me, and only 3 of them wanted to vote, and they all wanted to vote different tiers. So right now we have a 3-way tie between S, B, and C through F. So in this case, because the audience wants to troll and not give us a okay. Now we got a majority on C through F. Which means we have to do a runoff poll. So we have to buy a little bit of time here.
Dude, She's a dude. He's a dude. 'Cause we're all dudes. Is that enough time?
No, not at all. Not even close.
I'm a dude. She's a dude. He's a dude. 'Cause we're all dudes. How about now?
Almost there.
Cool. I'm a dude. He's a dude. She's a dude.
Vote, vote,
'Cause
vote,
we're all
vote. Hurry,
dudes.
hurry, hurry. Vote, vote, vote. And let there be a lead. Even if you want to put it in one of these other ones, just please don't let it tie again.
What is
If it
Tori
tied-
what's Tori doing in the chat?
Tori wants to get blocked like a bot.
Is this? Oh, I thought she was taking out like a personal ad. If you like pina coladas, I feel like I've already
Getting
been
caught in the rain.
Who wants to get caught in the rain? Why do you like that? I love that bit.
Absolutely not. All right. That works for me. Audience poll says C. So I'm a C, they're a C, and you're an F.
So it's going at the bottom of C.
That doesn't really work with the I'm a dude song.
Not really.
CC, and F. So top of D?
Is it top of D or bottom of C?
Well, I mean, they're kind of the same thing at this point for right now.
All right.
Chat, we did it. We got Good Burger over the stuff. I'm proud of you guys. It's my plight today to make sure the stuff is at the very bottom of the F tier.
So this movie is good. It won't go away. It will be knocking me sideways. And now everyone's going to have that song stuck in their head.
If they know what song you're talking about.
I feel like it's a pretty popular song. Because I've had that song stuck in my head ever since I watched this movie the other night. So Sideways. So I'll kick this off. This was fantastically written. This is definitely a movie that's all about the dialogue. There's a couple like fun like scenes to look at and stuff, but the dialogue in this movie is what makes it really good. So fantastically written. Story was great. It had like a perfect marriage of awkwardness and charm to it. And I like honestly after watching this, I was like, I kind of want to get into wine drinking. I'm not a big wine drinker, but like I kind of want a bottle of wine after this. So
a little bit.
Especially seeing like how he's like you shake it around, you look at the clarity, you stick your nose in it, and like it was good. I did really like it. I put this one in A.
Interesting. So for me, this is one of those I watched most recently. Just to get it in there before this list.
Like literally.
Shut up. And here's the thing. One would say, oh, you have recency bias then, right? Because you just saw this one? No, I don't have recency bias. Sideways, here's the thing. There are things I like about this movie. There are things that they did in this movie that I thought that I caught on like writing wise, I thought were really good. I think there was moments where they were describing where Virginia Madsen's character was she was describing, wines and to Paul Giamatti's character. And they're kind of describing a wine back and forth in a very quiet, brief moment in the movie. And I felt like as they were describing the wine, they were kind of describing either themselves as characters or the way they view themselves, the way they view each other, kind of a situation. That I thought was clever. I thought was really well done. As you said, also, this really makes me want to get into wine tasting. This is one of those movies that made, like most of the movies on this list, they make food look good. This is a movie that really made like wine and different kinds of wine look good. I think I learned more about wine watching this movie than I've ever known in my entire life. However, story-wise, I'm not as into it. There was aspects of this movie that I'm like, really? Homie's going to get away with that? Okay, cool. All right. it didn't land for me. There's aspects that I thought were really good, but those good aspects do not outweigh the bad for me in terms of like just personal enjoyment of the story. It was fine. I'm probably never gonna watch it again. For me, it's a solid D tier.
So you're basically saying you weren't a big fan of MC Gainey going full dong.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize that was him too until I looked it up on the cast later. I was like, oh, that guy? He went for it, didn't he? He really went for it.
Yeah. Anyways, you got it at what tier?
I put it at D.
D
tier.
And I'm not drinking any Merlot.
And chat is saying A.
A. Okay. So A-D. It's A-D-D. What?
No, it's A-A-D.
A-A-D, which
Don't
would put
yourself.
it which would put it like in B, I believe. Does that sound about right?
A-A-D. Yeah.
I get so worried when I do these that like at some point I'm hoping I don't come off as like biased and I'm just wanting to stick this in whatever tier I want.
You need to just have a numeric value attached to everything and just do the math.
I mean, I can just
add it up and then divide it by 3.
Yeah, I've done it before. Right now I'm just going to stick it right there. All right. Yeah. Garth is pointing out the Pina Colada song is about a married couple. So the song is catchy, but I hate that song for that reason. And every time I hear it played, everyone's like, yay, it's a fun song. Do you like Pina Colada? No, it's a stupid song. These people are trying to cheat on one another, and then they end up meeting each other in a bar, and they're like, oh, it's you. I should have known. We're so in love. No, you should be like ripping each other's heads off, trying to figure out who's trying to cheat on who when it's really both of y'all. Anyways, that's a side tangent there. Commonly found in the Cinefanatics podcast when the audio is good. Next one, though, moving on to. Oh, Chris, so you said, I love the timing on this too. You said that some of the movies on this list are going to make food look good.
Yeah, this one does not.
This one does not. This would be the all-time classic Office Space meets a neighborhood bar and grill. That would be Waiting. I love Waiting. If anyone who's ever actually worked at a restaurant like that, Waiting is brutally realistic. Except for like the penis showing game, I never witnessed anything like that.
The brain.
Yeah, the goat.
The goat.
Yeah. Otherwise, like everything else in this movie is like super, super honest and realistic.
I mean, it's very true that you cannot mix Asian with continental.
No, you can't. That's just weird, but people do it anyways.
Only food, guys.
The people who come into the restaurant like in the within the last 30 minutes and hearing all the kitchen staff just lose their shit because they have to reopen everything to cook again. That's just yeah. I purposely do not go to a restaurant within the last hour of it being open, specifically because of this movie, and also because I've worked at a restaurant, and I just know that's not a good thing to do. You're not a good person if you do that. Yes, there is judgment on that. Absolutely, 100%. This movie has a grosser pie shot than American Pie. Yeah. Anyways, I love Waiting. It's a really good movie. That being said, though, compared to everything else on the list, and I know, I'm saying that after I have already talked about the stuff, I will put Waiting at C tier.
All right. I don't feel as bad for my choice. For me personally, comedy is kind of like a hit or miss genre for me. If it's a really super duper like crass comedy or a comedy that's like built on just only sex jokes and like cussing and stuff, like where I do find those things funny, I don't necessarily find it funny for an hour and a half to 2 hours. So
lot of those movies typically don't hit with me as much. That's not to necessarily take anything away from this movie. I know, like, comedy wise, this is one of those that some people might consider a classic comedy. I don't know. Those people are kind of strange to me, but it's out there. It's yeah, you're strange to me. It's one of those that definitely reflects real life, as you said, as Garth has said in the chat there. It definitely reflects a lot of real aspects. The closest I've ever gotten to working in food industry is I worked at a coffee shop for a little bit. That wasn't even really close to the experience that you get watching this movie. It was definitely a lot more of a chill environment, maybe fast paced when it's a busy time, but it was definitely a lot more of a chill environment than kind of like the environment that is presented in Waiting. But again, like, this is, we're talking about Ryan Reynolds, being who he was that made him who he is. So just being himself, being himself, being Deadpool, being Van Wilder. Yeah. This and Van Wilder.
Green Lantern.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
But for me, like, I don't care for this movie as much as others, do. Or as much as almost any of the other movies on this list. There's a couple. Well, we already know one of my F tiers was The Stuff. There's one other movie that I have below this one, which means I put this one in D tier as well. I just was mixing D and tier. I put this in D tier as well. So
he puts it in the deer.
Please never, ever, ever say that again.
Anyways. I do like the fact that you said super duper, and the first thing that popped in my head was that Put In on the Ritz song, sung by Taco. So no matter what we say, everything we're saying is coming back to food in some form.
Putting on the Ritz.
Yeah. I do like Ritz crackers. What do I want to put on a Ritz? Anyways.
They're delightful.
So I've got this in C, you've got it in D, so it's hovering around there. Where does the chat want to put it?
Only 2 individuals in the chat have voted, and so far they're saying A and C through F. So we have another tie that needs to be broken between the two. So if we can get someone to vote real quick and break that tie up for me. Otherwise, we got to do another runoff poll now because we got one more vote for C through F here. Give me a second.
Oh, yeah. Putting on the Ritz was sung by Gene Wilder in Young Frankenstein.
Put on the Ritz!
Yeah. I actually really do like the Taco version. He has a weird voice in that song, but it fits. I feel like that's one of the early versions of using like voice modulation in it. But I mean, I've also seen videos him performing that song live, and it doesn't sound like it doesn't look like he's using like any microphone or voice modulation. He's just singing it, which means he's probably lip syncing.
My brain's trying to remember lyrics right now because I'm like, I want to sing it.
If you're blue and you don't want to go to, oh man,
oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits?
There it is.
Putting on the
Ritz.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Chat is saying C tier. So you got a C. I got a D, and the chat's got a C. So CDC, Center for Disease Control. Let's do it. Perfect for Waiting.
Above or below Good Burger? I would put it above Good Burger. You'd put it below Good Burger.
Yeah, because I have Good Burger at C and I have Waiting at D. So.
All right, so to resolve this situation, we're both going to step off camera. We're going to walk out into our kitchen, which is about halfway, and we're going to duke this out like adults, and then we'll come back and we'll see who won. I'm like, you want to put this after? Good Lord, the sex bots like food tonight.
They are hungry. They're thirsty. All those words.
They're like clear rivers in Varsity Blues covered in the banana toppings. Yeah. Banana split toppings. I forgot her name.
Put this in D.
D.
It's 2 C's. It's 2 C's and a D. I mean,
oh yeah. So is it above or below Good Burger?
So technically, right now, I think it's in C tier. It's below Good Burger.
So 2C. Yeah. Okay.
It's in C tier, but it's just the bottom of C tier right now because of that D. Because that D. Just really can't get away from that sounding weird.
Thanks, Internet. Thanks for ruining the letter D for everyone.
Right.
I blame the Internet. There was nothing wrong with D before the Internet got it.
I'm really trying hard to like think of clever things for the poll right off the top of my head. It's difficult, guys. It's difficult to think of something clever every single time that has to relate to what tier does this movie go on to.
Yeah. Anyways, next one is going to be somewhere around here. Where is it? Oh, I kept going past it. Ratatouille, which I believe this is its second appearance on a marquee.
It is.
So far, I think the stuff is actually winning as popping up on the most marquees. I need to start like tallying this because this is going to be something like as the channel, as the show continues to grow, it'll just be nice like little fun facts that the stuff has appeared on more than half of the marquees we've ever done.
What you can do is you end up like running like a pre-show before one of our streams goes. It runs like a movie pre-show.
Yeah.
Which movie has appeared the most on a marquee?
That's a good idea. I want to see if Maria Menounos is available.
Yeah, she can host it. I mean, we can just call her up, right? She's like our best friend now.
We walked by her, okay? We walked by her and said hi.
She walked by us while we were sitting down.
Sure, okay. Didn't mean that for to be an actual story, but...
Anyway, Ratatouille, guys.
Ratatouille. I like this, which is funny. So here's my thing with this. I can't remember. I think I saw Ratatouille not too far before we did the Pixar movie Marquee. I think it was within probably like the year before, so it was the first time I watched it. And this movie came out in 2007. So someone like me who really likes food, who loves to cook, I hadn't watched this since 2007. So only recently had I watched Ratatouille.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I loved everything that they did with that movie, with the exception that, this movie is causing you to come to the understanding that a rat is cooking food. And it's not only that a rat is cooking food, the rat is cooking food by yanking on a human's hair. So
you gotta love Pixar.
That's all kinds of like health code violations all over the place.
It's okay. It's under the hat. It's like a hairnet.
Yeah, but still, the grossness of that aside, this movie did a lot of stuff correctly as far as showing like how a kitchen works, and that some of these movies we really haven't hit it yet. Kind of maybe sort of in waiting with like the trashiness of a like a corporate neighborhood bar and grill. Some of the nasty stuff they could do in the kitchen that may possibly actually happen. This one is showing us the kitchen of like an actual like fine dining restaurant, and in France, yeah. And I really like what they show and how stuff works. And I thought it was fantastic because it was pretty accurate as far as, I'm not a professional chef, but the stuff I know about cooking, it was very accurate to that. So like kudos on Pixar for nailing that. But yeah, I really like this movie. I say that, and then I'm looking down at my notes. I was like, oh yeah, I've got this as a B. I love it, like the inner workings of the kitchen. Great movie for showcasing food, love for food, and the rats and their family, of course, is a nice, like, heartwarming bit of it. My favorite part of this movie will always be the ending with the food critic eating the ratatouille and his face and everything. Just that is perfection.
Delicious.
Yeah. Anyways, Chris.
So for me, since we have done this before, we have talked before about like Pixar movies and where this ranks for like Pixar movies for me. And this one doesn't rank as high for me as a Pixar movie amongst the vast list of Pixar movies. However, we're ranking food movies. We're ranking movies that have to do with food. We're not ranking Pixar movies right now. On this list, I will say, taking in the fact that I did rewatch Ratatouille again, I can't remember if I rewatched it for the Pixar list or if I watched it right after. I probably watched it before. Upon the rewatch, I have found aspects of it that I actually did enjoy more upon that second viewing than I did the first time. One of the things this movie does is make me damn hungry. This movie does a really good job in animation form of making me very hungry and making me want the food presented in the movie. And you guys are going to see, based on how I ordered my list, not only did I order it by which movies I liked the best, I also ordered this by which movie, it just naturally fell this way, by which movie makes me the hungriest when I watch it. When I see them prepare the food within the film. This movie did it a very, very well. And because of that, I put this movie in the S tier tonight.
So we got an S and a B.
You put it at B. I put it higher than you this time?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're saying that you're ranking these based on how hungry the movie made you?
Yes, and how I felt about the movie, because honestly, I look at the list and it works both ways.
We're gonna have fun when we get to Julie and Julia,
except for one of these movies. But we'll do that later. Talk about that later. But yeah, Ratatouille is an S for me. Chad is saying S, and you are saying B.
Yes. So 2 S's and a B, and the person who likes to cook is the one ranking it low. That is weird.
Weirdo.
So this is going to go. This will go at the top of A.
2 S's and a B. Top of A, yeah.
All right. Next one. Oh God, this was such a good movie. Next one's going to be Waitress. Waitress. So this was a movie I was aware of this movie for a while. I just watched it for the first time actually the other night. This movie was written and directed by Adrian Shelley, who also stars in this movie as the waitress Dawn. So this movie has been turned into a Broadway musical also, which I completely like. Watching this movie, I can easily see how this movie could be a Broadway musical, and I can see it working so well. Unfortunately, the Adrian Shelley, the director writer of this movie, was tragically murdered right after this movie came out. So this was the final thing she did, and I think she knocked it out of the park with this. This movie is so good. What do I have in my notes? I'm sitting here like going off the top of my head, and I know I actually put down notes for it. Gorgeous movie with characters that you love to hate and hate to love. Mainly the head manager of the restaurant. Not Andy Griffith's character, but
no, he was the owner.
Yeah, Lou Temple, I believe, was the head chef manager. Like you just love to hate him, and at some points you hate to love him. Many twists and directions. This movie goes in different directions that you have no idea that's actually going to go there. And it's kind of weird. Like this movie feels like it should be following a very formulaic type of movie, like a rom-com. This movie is played out like a rom-com, and you feel like you know the beats of a rom-com, and this movie's just going to follow the same beats. Maybe slight spoilers. It doesn't. It does. It it's very twisty and turny. What's that called?
What they twist.
No, we're subverting expectations. It does that very well, but it also makes sense once it does it, and you're like, "Huh, okay, yeah, I like this. I like where this is going." It does it quite a few times throughout the course of this movie, and it's great. I had a blast watching it. It makes you feel good. Like, I feel like the movie makes you feel good, even though if the stuff that happens in this movie happens to a real person, you wouldn't necessarily be walking away feeling good. But you do in this movie because, number one, because of the resilience of Kerry Russell's character. The other thing I will add real quick is damn near every person in this movie nails their role.
Yeah.
There's definitely some that are more of a talk about. Andy Griffith's character.
There you go. You got it. You got there.
Anyways, his character is absolutely phenomenal, and he's probably my favorite character of this whole movie. Jeremy Sisto, you hate him with a passion. Oh God, but he does it so well. I like Jeremy Sisto as an actor. I loved him in Clueless, but yeah, I just can't stand him in this movie. It's so good. Anyways, yeah, I have this as my other S tier. Yeah. I actually have 3 S tiers that I've chosen for this. This is my second of 3 S tiers. So,
yeah. Also, before I say it, let me clarify what I'm typing in the chat here. So the way we do the poll is we go with the majority vote on the poll, and that is one vote. So my brother has 1 vote, I have 1 vote. The chat as a whole gets 1 vote. So we divide by 3. So in a situation where it's 2 S's and a B, that would be the top of A. You add those 3 votes together.
Yeah.
So we're not going based off of every single vote in the chat, because I can't determine, if we look at it right now where we got 2 votes, 1 for B and 1 through C through F, we can easily pick that out. But
Garth, only 1 vote for the chat, no matter how many votes. That stinks. Garth, welcome to the Electoral College.
It's kind of true.
This isn't political. That's the only political joke I could think of, and it works. So I'm quite proud of myself for that one.
It's mildly true. Anywho, yeah, that's just how the math works on that one. So anyway, waiting is waitress. Good Lord. Waitress is another one of the movies that I saw very recently. Very, very recently. And it also is another movie that made me want the food presented in the film. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's good.
We'll take some lobbyists in the chat. If you want to go streamlabs.com/cinefanatics, you can lobby for your vote.
I didn't know the food movies marquee was going to turn into the politics marquee.
There's a lot of politics in food.
Dude, I am screwed if we ever do a politics marquee. I'm gonna be like, this movie was fun to watch. I don't know what they're talking about.
My vote is no. My vote is no. Anyway, this was a delightful movie. It was very enjoyable. The food presented, aka the pies. This is another example of a food movie that's doing food right, in that I wanted to eat every single pie I saw on screen. You have a problem?
Yeah, real quick. There was a shot of like a whole bunch of pies that the pies ended up looking like the imaginary food pies from Hook, where it looks like they just took a pie crust, they put pudding of like a certain color, and then they like stuck like a banana on top of it, and they're like, there you go. Like, it didn't actually look like a well-made pie. Like the pies in this image here with the lattice work and it didn't look like that. It just looked like like we just threw some stuff in here and here's a pie.
Yeah, but I still wanted to eat it all because I bet it all.
True, absolutely.
And that's the point. All the pies look delicious. There is one scene in this movie that takes place that shoots this movie by itself up to the top of my list, and that was the spot where she is going through multiple locations with this look on her face.
Yeah.
She's just staring at the camera, smiling, and she's smiling throughout multiple scenes in the same section. I was like, I was not expecting a scene like that to be in this movie, but I was like, that's some excellent filmmaking right there. That's some excellent filmmaking. It's a great story. It's heartwarming. It's also a story that there's a character in the movie that you, like you were saying earlier, that you love to hate. There's a character in this movie that I despised. And like this guy was a cartoon. He was cartoonishly just awful. Just a cartoonishly awful man.
I don't think it's a spoiler saying it's Jeremy Sisto. That's what I was trying to get a point.
Yeah. He played a complete douchebag husband so well.
God.
Like, God, what happened in this man's life to make him treat his wife that way? Good God. I wanted to punch him so hard in the face. I wanted to kick him so hard in the nads. You know, I just wanted to do all the things. He did such a good job playing that character. And yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, guys, y'all should watch it. It's a nice breezy hour, 40-minute or so watch. You should definitely give it a look. See if you want a nice little heartwarming movie, and you just want to feel like you can. If you just want to take your aggression out, you know, on some guy or whatever. There's a guy in this movie you take your aggression out easily. That makes any sense.
This is a movie I would almost put into the same kind of camp that if you want a movie to just uplift your day, like the Paddington movies, for example, you just want a movie that just gives you a warm hug. I feel like this is in there. There's definitely parts of this movie that are very like, but like the overall are just everything she goes through and her personality, her resilience throughout this movie is so heartwarming.
Yeah.
So,
also, I loved Andy Griffith's character.
Yeah. So good.
So anyway, for me, this one falls in the A tier.
All right. So what do we got in the chat?
We have another tie with 2 votes in the chat. Somebody, please. We've got more than 2 people watching right now. Please vote in the chat. Give us a tiebreaker. Okay, we got a.
That didn't help.
Didn't help. Three. You guys are just trying. You guys are causing chaos out here. Chaos. We got an S, we got a B, and we got a C through F. It's Garth right now trying to say count each one individually.
Yeah, and that's what causes us to wait until tomorrow to find out who the president is when Florida can't decide. And we got to go count all the votes.
Oh man! All right, we got a extra vote for C through F here, so that is going to be the winner of this poll. Let me run another one.
All right, give me just a second.
Where is he going?
To place where food is at, because I'm hungry or thirsty or whatever.
So yeah, we'll do refunds of stream. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so as we get the other poll set up here, and as he refills his drink, I definitely recommend you guys check out this movie if you haven't gotten a chance to see it, though. We got another poll up in the chat. It's C, D, and F. Please pick one of those 3. Oh. So I am at the A tier. What tier were you at? What tier were you at?
For waitress?
Yeah.
S.
So we got an S, we got an A, and the chat is going. You guys are cooking my grits tonight.
Oh, I should have put my cousin Vinny on here.
You guys are really cooking my grits.
It takes 20 minutes to cook grits. By the way,
it doesn't.
My cousin Vinny is not on here.
It takes 3 votes in less than 5 seconds.
My cousin Vinny's not on here, but if y'all haven't seen it, that's a good movie too. It's like one of the most accurate like courtroom movies also, which is weird sounding.
All right, so we got C, D, and F. I'm saying we just do the average of the chat, and that will be the vote. So looks like the chat's voting for a D. if you ask me.
Maxwell's in the chat. I know he's voting S on this one. But let's see. So you said D. Chat is saying D. You said A, and I said S.
Yep.
S-A-D. This is going to put it in B.
Y'all think you're going to hold me up tying up the chat like that? Nah, I'm going to say run an average in the chat. I got you guys beat. I figured it out. Got you beat.
This is going to go in B, but it's going to go... It'll go above sideways.
Yes. Agree.
These feelings won't go away.
We're going to get DMCA strike. Please stop.
You know, here's the thing. I will take that as a compliment. If we get a copyright strike because I'm singing the song, hey, that's a compliment for me.
It just recognizes a similar sounding tune, not that it sounded good.
But if you were to just say the words, if you just said the lyrics to the song, you wouldn't get a copyright strike, which means I have to be sounding like the song for it to recognize to copyright strike it. So that works. That's a win. All right, next one. I was like, I do want pie. Oh yeah, yesterday was Thanksgiving. We have pie.
We have pie.
We have good pie.
We do have pie. There's pie present. All right. Next movie.
The best movie that does not have Anthony Bourdain in it. No Reservations.
Oh.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to talk about.
It should have had Anthony Bourdain in it somewhere.
This came out in 2007. I think he was still alive at that time.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
In all honesty, that would have made this a much better movie.
Oh, no. He went there.
Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing, though. That's like saying that, like, hey, winning the lottery would have been fantastic. Winning the lottery would be fantastic anyways. Anthony Bourdain in any movie would have been fantastic. You could have put him in Good Burger, and I would have raised this up from an F.
That actually would have been amazing. Wait, I want that movie. Hold on. Can we redo Time?
Oh, Tori. Fun fact, I've been tattooed by someone who also tattooed Anthony Bourdain.
6 degrees of separation.
There you go.
We love to see it.
So for this movie like outright hits every cooking, chef, kitchen movie cliche badly. It does a terrible job of it. It's like not even just a kitchen cooking movie. Every cliche that you could do, like say in a rom-com, because this is supposed to be a rom-com. I say supposed to be a rom-com, but Catherine Zeta-Jones, hold on. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Aaron Eckhart have absolutely no chemistry together at all.
It was a rom-dramedy.
Yeah, I get that, but what I hate is that the 3 leads of this movie are all fantastic actors. There's a couple of movies I absolutely love by Catherine Zeta-Jones. There's a couple of movies I really love from Aaron Eckhart, not just the Batman movie. And then what's her face? Abigail Breslin.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a few movies I like from her. So all 3 of these leads are great in their own right. This movie is just not put together. It's like they're like, what are we going to do at this point? Let's make the head chef of the restaurant an angry, egotistical person. Check. And yes, that is going to come up again later, but it's dependent on how it's handled. This one I don't think was the first time we meet him. He's taking over the kitchen and he's playing opera music, and everyone in the kitchen is like trying to sing or dance with it. You can't do that in the kitchen. You're not going to be able to listen to music and sing and dance. Kitchens are fast-paced where people are yelling, they're screaming, they're asking, where's the order? They're yelling out how much time is left on the steak. They're saying all of this stuff constantly to keep everyone. Communication is key in a kitchen. This movie doesn't work. It's upsetting how much I don't like this movie. The drama part of it, even though it was cliched, was cute. But again, these characters have no chemistry. So
Definitely an aspect of the drama part of it that was not cute.
yeah, yes. Yeah, we're spoiler. He screws her over basically.
No. What? Did we watch the same movie? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, where he gets the head chef position by the owner of the restaurant.
Talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what you're talking about then.
Her sister dying.
Well, yeah, but that happens at the beginning of the movie, and that sets the pace for like the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
The fact that she has to take care of a restaurant, she has to take care of a relationship with him, and she has to take care of Abigail Breslin. Other than that, like I can't. Every cliche just was painful for me. This is my other F. This is the one that I was watching the other night, and I was on Twitter like, screw this movie. This is an F tier for me.
Is it my turn?
Oh, yeah, you could talk now.
All right, guys, make sure you're voting in the chat as well. We got one vote in on the poll right now. Make sure that you are getting your votes in. Whether they matter or not, you'll find out. Just make sure to vote. Here's the thing for me on this one. I was in complete disagreement with almost everything you said. I thought they had great chemistry, actually. Yeah, I thought I didn't catch really any cliches of kitchen life, but then again, I don't pay attention that close to how a restaurant should work. Therefore, the movie works for me in terms of it's a fictional movie. Therefore, anything that happens in it operates in a fictional way. So it's not going to be a one-to-one how real life kitchens actually work. And I'm okay with that. I accept that. And that's fine with me. It's the same with pretty much any of these movies. If any of these movies feature, anybody working in a kitchen, I'm okay if it's not a one-to-one real life for how, a kitchen works. So that's okay. That's okay with me. As far as the story between her and Abigail Breslin, I thought it was an excellent story. I thought that it had a delightful message to it, in terms of, what was going on in her life and what she needed to accomplish to overcome her obstacles and everything. I thought it was fantastic. I thought Aaron Eckhart's character was a great character. And I say all that to say that there is one area about this movie that brings this movie's tier down for me, wherein I was ready to throw this in maybe upper B, lower A. This movie actually lands in the C for me because the ending feels very rushed. It feels like they had nearly 2 hours to do this entire movie, and they waited till like the last 10 minutes to do any of the things that really wrapped up the story. That, whereas a lot of movies take maybe the last 20 to 30 minutes to do everything needed to wrap up the story. Like the big conflict happens, with 30 minutes left of the movie. At somewhere at the 15-minute left in the movie mark, you see that conflict resolve. And like the last 10 minutes or so is just wrapping up the final bit of the story. This movie crammed all of that like until the last 10 minutes. And that made the very end of the movie feel very rushed for me. Let's think of it as you're searing a steak. You're putting it in the oven and letting it cook for a little while, and then it gets to like where you should probably leave it in the oven for maybe the last 30 minutes. You decide, nah, I'm just gonna go and take it out of the oven and pop it in the microwave. I'm just gonna let it finish in the microwave real quick. And that's kind of where this movie landed. Whereas it's probably still going to be an okay piece of steak. It's going to taste like a steak. I don't know if the texture is going to really work, but it kind of missed out at the very end by rushing the process a little bit. So otherwise, I did very much enjoy the rest of the movie. So for me, it is going in the C tier, but it's at the top of C tier for me.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that rushed ending, but yeah, I do absolutely 100% agree, because that was the same thing I thought. I was like, wait, we're just now getting to this? There's like 5 minutes left in the movie. What the hell? Also, just to make sure everyone knows that in the Cinefanatics household, I am the one that cooks the steaks. and no microwave is ever used.
Correct.
Maybe every once in a while I'll at least go the sous vide route, but that's about it.
I mean, so my analogy, while the times may have been off, not completely wrong.
Analogy. And nobody wants a microwave steak.
Absolutely not. Well,
Gross.
unless you're like reheating from the restaurant the day before, but at that point, if you're
don't
at that point, shut up. At that point, if you are bringing home a steak to eat later, yeah, you might as well just reheat it. Well, you should be eating the steak in the restaurant. You shouldn't be bringing the steak home.
You chop it up and you heat it up real quick with some eggs for breakfast the next day. You don't reheat it.
Yeah, you use it for something else.
Yeah,
but you should be eating the steak in the restaurant. You shouldn't be bringing the steak home.
Congratulations, Chris. You can stay in Texas.
We also got a tie in the poll right now. We got a vote in S and a vote in C through F. So let's get a tie-breaking vote in the chat for me, please. And we can move along to our next film. Looks like we got a tie-breaking vote in the C through F. It's weird lately. Every time I've called for a tie-breaking vote, it all seems to always go in the C through F.
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening.
Weird. All right, so let me run another poll real quick. I kind of wish it landed in the S tier so I wouldn't have to roll another poll, but hey, these things happen sometimes. We you do the poll feature. This is what you got to do,
We'll also take this time to point out that in the future, things like this will work also better if we had hundreds upon thousands of viewers.
True.
It'd be real quick.
So if you want to do us a favor, and anytime you see us promoting a marquee on social media, feel free to hit that retweet and share it and let people know that we're going to be ranking some movies tonight, and people's opinion is very much appreciated in the chat.
Yeah, because we need to hit that demographic like, oh, they're talking about food movies. I like movies. I like food. I'll watch that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Also, again, y'all have any questions, comments, issues, complaints, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics.
Yeah. Hey, Jeremy knows.
Yeah.
He's never reheated a steak. The only time I've ever reheated a steak was when I was a kid and I couldn't eat that much steak in the restaurant anyway. And as a kid, my taste doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
As an adult, no, we eat it in the restaurant. Any better. If we're bringing something home, we're bringing the fries or baked potato or whatever I'm having with the steak. I'm bringing that home. I'm not bringing the steak home.
If you can't finish the steak at the restaurant, you just leave it at the restaurant. You don't bring it home.
No, you just make yourself sick and you finish that damn steak.
Well, that's what you actually should be doing. You're damn right.
All right. So looks like run off poll. We got a vote in there for the C tier. We're going to go ahead and end that poll there on that vote.
So you said C also?
Yep. CC, and you said F. So CCF.
So this is going to go D.
Would you like me to pull out a calculator and do this for you?
I mean, I guess we'll just put it above the stuff. I'm not happy with this, though. But I'll accept my position and the stuff's position in its life.
Yep.
All I'm saying, though, is y'all better be glad that they don't celebrate Christmas in the stuff, because this might pop up on a marquee again very soon.
I'm trying to figure out how you would make a Christmas stuff connection. Stuffing into a stocking is the stuff. Hey.
It's the stuff. They're stuffing. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. Next movie. Moving on to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So here's this movie is good for what it is. This is a movie that is clearly aimed at kids. It is based off of a book. And for anyone who grew up reading that book, who adores that book, that can even recite that book right now while on camera, this movie is not that book. They got the fact that, like, I think they even changed the name of the town, if I remember correctly. In the book, the town's name was the city of Chew and Swallow. And
yeah, there's a reason they changed that name.
I get it, but I think they changed it in the movie. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I do remember certain aspects of it. In the book, that city, it just so happens to rain food. There's no reason for it. There's no cause as to why this happens. It just, every page you turn is very well drawn. Like, the images in the book are fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
A gigantic pancake just laying on, like, City Hall. Like, it's great. This movie turns it into, it's just fun. There's meatballs falling from the sky. There's this weird monkey that has a voice box on it. Like, whatever. And then it also blames the weather on a mad scientist character, or a dumb mad scientist, whatever. Like, it's a good movie. And if this movie was its own, like, intellectual property to begin with, like, it wasn't based off of anything else, then this movie would be a lot of fun and I would enjoy the hell out of it. But because I have such a love for the original book, and again, this movie is not that, I got this in D.
So for me, this is one of those animated movies where, like, you don't know what to expect going into it, but I remember when I saw it the first time and it had so many funny moments in it. I was like, oh, this was just a cleverly written movie. By itself, it was a cleverly written movie. Again, like you mentioned, let's talk about this movie in a vacuum.
Yeah.
By itself, it's a well done animated movie. You know, you got to stick the little talking monkey in there for the kids. It's a lot of fun for the kiddos. They like that kind of stuff. But otherwise, the concept, the idea, great stuff. The fact that it shares the name, though, with a book, not in the vacuum anymore, I get very confused as to why they decided talking monkey. Because nothing about that book screamed, hey, throw a talking monkey in here somewhere. But not to, like, stay on the talking monkey. That's not like the downfall of the movie. The downfall of the movie is it wasn't like a one-to-one with the book, or it wasn't like a proper adaptation. It just kind of shared the name and shared similar concepts. This is another movie, though, where the food in the movie looks fantastic to me. I'd like to eat any of that. Burger falls from the sky, let it fall right in my hand. I'll eat that burger. Delicious. But as far as, like, you know, the rest of these movies go, this one is just okay for me. It was just okay. You know, it was cleverly written, but again, compared to a lot of these other movies we got on this list, this is another one that just falls into that. It's fine. It's well done for an animated movie. It works for the kids, but it's just okay for me. And for that, I've got this one in the B tier, bottom of B tier for me.
All right, so D and B.
And see, chat right now, we've got 3 votes in there, all for different ones. So we need one tie-breaking vote on that one. Awesome. All right, we got C through F. All right. Once it seems to be the natural theme here. Okay.
I'm also thinking about, like, the realistic nature of what would happen if the weather did start raining food.
It would solve a lot of hunger.
You would solve a lot of world hunger, but here's the issue that I have. People are terrible at controlling their impulses. You would not be hungry, but all of a sudden it starts raining like the most gorgeous looking hamburger you've ever seen. You're going to eat it. Just, you can't control yourself.
Right. Yeah, I would. I mean, if a perfectly cooked, delicious looking hamburger with all the toppings on it that made it just the most perfect hamburger for me fell out of the sky and landed right in front of me, I'm eating that mug.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even care. It's going in my face hole. This one. It's going in this face hole. All right, we got the runoff poll up, guys. Make sure you vote. We got one vote for C right now. But yeah, this was it Bill Hader was the lead?
Yeah.
In this, and then Anna Faris.
Is that, yeah, Bill Hader, Anna Faris, and whoever did the voice of the monkey.
I can't even remember who did the voice of the monkey. But yeah, I remember this being good.
I think it was like TJ Miller or something like that.
Ooh, hard pass. Okay. They made a sequel to this, didn't they?
Yes, they did. I can't even remember if I saw the sequel.
I don't think I saw the sequel either. I don't think it was important enough to run out and see.
So the point of this is, if you've seen the movie and you haven't read the book, go find the book. The book is awesome. I love the book.
The book is a classic to me, like the very hungry little caterpillar or whatever. Like one of those level of classics. If you give a mouse a cookie or something.
Yeah. The illustrations in the book of this is so good. It's got I would call it like a quirky Norman Rockwell feel to the images in that book. Some of it, I would change my computer's like wallpaper to some of those shots in that book. Great time to have a burp.
Yep, we got a C tier for the chat poll.
So C. So they said C, I said D. You said what?
I said for this one, I said B.
Okay, so it's going C.
Yep, I said bottom of the B. You said D. I don't know where you have it in D, but
so I'll stick it between Good Burger and Waiting.
And so the way this is going to work also is that I believe we said 3 tiers
can have 3.
3 tiers can have 3, which we might shift around which tier has 3 by the end of this.
Correct.
But as for right now, C is going to currently have 3 movies sitting in it.
Cool. Ooh, next one.
Yep.
Would be Julie and Julia.
Julie and Julia.
Fantastic performance by Meryl Streep. She was nominated for an Oscar for her role as Julia Child and very deserving of that nomination. Also co-starring our sister Amy Adams, and she did a phenomenal job at that as well. So good job, sis.
She did great.
This movie is absolutely delightful. I said both stories could have been their own movie in their own right, but combining them felt like double the heartwarmingness of this. Also, in complete honesty, again, I like to cook. I am interested. Here we go. I'm going to attempt this live on camera.
Oh, this is a bad idea.
I am eager to make Bouffe Bourguignon. Nailed it. Because of this movie. It's beef burgundy if you don't want to try to pronounce French words.
I'm beef burgundy? Who put the question mark on the teleprompter?
Good job. Yeah. If you haven't seen this movie, even though Julie attempts to make Bouffe Bourguignon, she kind of fails at her first try at it, but she succeeds the second time. And I immediately paused the movie. And typically I would not want to take myself out of a movie like that, but I'm a foodie. I like food. I like making food. I had to check because I could have sworn I saw that there was Binging with Babish on YouTube, which is one of my favorite like YouTube food cooking channels. He actually made Bouffe Bouillon on his channel, and so I went to go watch it, and I was like, I could do this. This looks easy. This looks like fun. So I am easy. I desperately wanted to do it. I wanted to do this like my weekend that I was off, but I had to do Thanksgiving stuff. So when Thanksgiving stuff and the holidays are completely out of the way, I'm making this, and then y'all can be waiting on Chris's Twitter at Chris Adams MLP to hear him go, this was one of the best things I've ever eaten. Because I almost guarantee that's what's going to happen.
This dish was beef bourguignon. Am I right?
Don't do that. Yeah, anyways. And then again, Meryl Streep as Julia Child was just expert level casting. I have this as A.
Yeah. Likewise, I saw this. So this is one of the situations where we had this on the list ready to go for this marquee, and then we find out that Julie, the individual in real life who Amy Adams is playing in this movie, she passed away. I'm sorry, what?
Julie Powell.
Yeah, she passed away, and I just happened to be watching it on that day, and I was like, you know what, we'll dedicate this viewing to her then. In honor of her, we'll go ahead and check out her story, because I'd never seen this movie, so it was one of those that I needed to catch up on for this marquee anyway. I was like, we'll watch it now, and I very much enjoyed this story. I enjoyed her storyline, and I enjoyed Julia Child's storyline in this. Like you said, both could easily be their own movies by themselves. The reason I think you had to combine it like this, and I think the reason why it worked the best, is because Julie Powell's story, in order to inform her story, you had to get that. You had to be informed with Julia Child's story. You had to get that biopic nature of her life leading up to that cookbook existing, in order to really understand what it was, the feat, what it was that Julie Powell was taking on by actually cooking every single dish that was in that cookbook, essentially. I thought this was a delightful movie. I love the juxtaposition of the two stories bouncing back and forth throughout the entire film. So, and like you said, yes, Meryl Streep was pitch perfect casting for this. She is one of the best actresses out there. She proves it in every single thing that she does usually. So she portrayed Julia Child like almost perfect. Like if you walk down the street to ask anybody who may have known who Julia Child was, and ask them which celebrity, which actor, which actress do you think should portray Julia Child, every single person would say Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep.
Yeah, they would start chanting Meryl Streep, because she just got the inflection, the tone, and the persona of who Julia Child was down perfectly.
Yeah, that's got to be a hard voice. The tone, the raspiness of her voice.
Julia Child.
Yeah, that's got to be hard to be able to put that voice on throughout the course of a movie. And granted, I don't think Meryl Streep is the type of actress that goes in method. So she was definitely like breaking character and talking in her regular voice. And then she has to get herself back into Julia Child mode. That can't be easy. And also being able to pull that off without it sounding like you're doing a comedic impression. Very much like Dan Aykroyd did in the Saturday Night Live skit, which I'm also really happy that was in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that skit is so good. But yeah, kudos to her for doing that, for pulling that off. Just that's a hard voice.
So for me, this movie is top of A tier for me. It's just a well done story, just a well made movie. I very much enjoyed it. It goes at the top of A tier for me. We have the chat also saying it is in the B tier for them. So I got A, they got a B, you got
A.
You got A.
This is going to go at the bottom of A.
You know what that spells? It spells ABBA. You know what movie was done based on ABBA?
Don't sing. Don't sing.
Do you know who stars in that movie?
Don't sing.
I'm not trying to sing. It's Meryl Streep. We got the connection. We brought it full circle. Hey, look at me go. All right. I'm impressed with myself over really dumb things.
Mamma mia, this is a great Italian food.
Wow.
It's French food that they're cooking in it, but whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. Felt like doing a Mario impression all of a sudden. I'm not doing an impression of the Italian culture or anyone, but just Mario. All right, next one. This one's gonna be a little bit hard for us to talk because I know both me and my brother could easily talk about this one all day.
Amen, brother.
Chef. So I'm gonna drop the curtain on this. The second that we decided to do, I think it was actually Jeremy. So real quick, shout out to Jeremy Miller in the chat. I put in Discord, I was like, I'm trying to come up with ideas for like what we should do for November's Marquee, and Jeremy was one like that mentioned food movies. And the second I saw food movies, the first movie that popped into my head, Chef. Got to figure out which way I'm pointing.
Oh, I got it down.
I mean, I talked about before with No Reservations. And unfortunately, I hate the fact that No Reservations came before any of these other movies that did the same kind of like head chef, egotistical, arrogant in the kitchen cooking. Chef does that cliche also, but it does it right. There's a difference between being an arrogant in the kitchen, but still being a chef and know what you're doing. There's a reason that that's a cliche. It is known that a head chef in a kitchen like that, especially a very high, like Michelin star rated restaurant, the head chef is going to be very egotistical, very controlling. I should be a chef. But just the way that Jon Favreau not only expertly directs this movie, acts in this movie, he does also direct the movie. In so much that he's gone beyond this movie to do a series about cooking in the style of Chef. I believe it's on Netflix, where he's actually gone around and he does episodes of his chef show with famous chefs, including coming to Austin, Texas. He did an episode with Aaron Franklin from Franklin's Barbecue.
Who appears in the movie?
He goes to Franklin's Barbecue in the movie as well. So there's also, I would maybe say on the point of both of us, maybe a little bit of bias that he comes to Austin. He goes to places that are easily recognizable to us who've lived here our whole life. And both of us have been to Franklin's Barbecue. If you're not familiar with Franklin's Barbecue, that is the place that you have to line up like at 5 a.m. to be able to get in to get any food. It is good. It is good barbecue. Yeah. Robert has such a big ego, he may be Star-Lord's father. That's a correct statement there, Garth. Anyways, this movie is so good.
Size head looking.
This movie is so good, not just in Jon Favreau. Everyone who's acting in this movie is all phenomenal, no matter how smart. In fact, this movie also has like Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson in small roles. I think Dustin Hoffman, yeah. I think this was just coming off of Iron Man 2. So he was able to easily rope in RDJ and ScarJo into this movie as well. And even their parts are really good.
Oliver Platt.
Yeah, the personal part of this that I will take away, the dish that he makes for ScarJo in this movie, the pasta aglio e olio. I'm not going to say it again. I've made that, and it is so good. So, yeah, this movie is inspiring. Like, I want to make Cubanos. I don't like Swiss cheese, but I want to make a Cubano just because this movie makes it look so good. Oh, this movie's so much fun. It's a great. If you like cooking, this movie is your movie. S tier, easily S tier. Oh, if you like food trucks, yeah, Jeremy, definitely. If you like food trucks as well.
So,
Chris, what do you want to add to that?
Right. This is one of my favorite movies. This is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. This is going in the S tier for me. I'll just say that right up top. No surprise. You guys who follow us long enough, you know Chef is one of my favorites. And it's funny too, because I literally just found this movie just clicking on Netflix one day going, I just want to watch something. What is there to watch on Netflix right now? And that movie is in there. I read the plot line. I was like, all right, I guess I'll throw this on. And man, I tell you, I've never had a situation where I just threw on a movie randomly and it won my heart completely. This movie is such a feel-good movie for me. This movie is by definition for me a warm blanket comfort movie. This is a comfort movie for me easily. I just feel so cozy watching Chef. Not only that, this is the movie that is the definitive movie on this list for me that anytime food is shown in the film, I want to eat it, no matter what it is. If it's a dish that I probably never would have considered before, like they talk about the caviar egg, I don't care about caviar. I don't think I've ever tried it. It doesn't sound fascinating to me whatsoever. I don't really care. I'll eat it though. I'll eat the caviar egg they show in this movie because they do a good job presenting food in this movie. I believe they had multiple chefs on hand, or at least one major chef. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Choi.
Yes. Is it Roy? Roy Choi?
Roy Choi, yeah.
Yeah, they had him on hand as the chef consultant for the food in this movie.
Who also works on the Chef Show with Jon Favreau.
So basically, if you ever ask me what is one of the best food movies ever for food cinematography, this movie.
Yeah.
Because this movie makes me want a grilled cheese sandwich. It's that good. This movie makes me want to drive all the way to New Orleans and stand in the line for a beignet. You know, this movie is by definition, if we're ranking this list on just how the movie presents food itself, this movie is still an S tier. If we're ranking this list based on how good the movie is, this movie for me is still an S tier. No matter which way you work this list, this movie is top of this entire list for me. Easily one of my favorites, easily my favorite on this entire list. Easy S tier. Let's move on to the next movie.
Yeah. I already saw the chat. The chat said S.
Chat says S also.
I knew this was going to go S. That's why I saved that spot right in front of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Even though Willy Wonka's classic, I knew, at least from the viewpoint of me and my brother, this movie was going to rank higher as far as a food movie over Willy Wonka. There's a reason why this was one of the movie watch-alongs during your fundraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is so good. If y'all
Jeremy says it's the Citizen Kane of food movies.
Absolutely. If you haven't seen Chef, do yourself a favor. Make some food first because you're gonna be hungry watching this movie.
The grilled cheese is the sled.
Yeah. Just watch. If you don't take anything else away from this entire marquee tonight, watch Chef. And then let us know how much you love it on social media or comment below. Oh, God, that's such a good movie. I'm hungry. Next movie. God, I wish I ordered these better because this doesn't work after gushing about Chef for a bit. Next one is Burnt. This is another one that I wish we talked about as far as the cliches go before No Reservations. If you have seen Chef, you will know between Chef and Burnt, you have a really good idea of that head chef cliche that I'm talking about. Because it's the same exact cliche here. Bradley Cooper nails it perfectly. In fact, in some cases, I would almost say that Bradley Cooper may do just a bit better on that cliche than Jon Favreau does. The only problem is Bradley Cooper's is a lot more arrogant, while Jon Favreau's is a lot more confident. So, I thought Burnt was a good movie. I saw the reviews for it and I didn't have high hopes. I enjoyed Burnt. I thought it was pretty good. I thought the cliches of it were handled nicely. Like as far as him being an egotistical, arrogant asshole, I thought he still pulled off his character because he still showed those signs of being a caring human being. I thought it was okay. I do have this at a D tier though. Like, I don't know if I'll watch it again. I enjoyed watching it for this. I hadn't watched it before. It was one of the movies I had to watch for the Marquee to be able to talk about it, but I thought it was okay. I was entertained enough. I didn't hate the movie. So, it's similar to his character in Silver Linings Playbook. Yeah. Only, I think I haven't seen all of Silver Linings Playbook, but I think his character in that is like autistic or something. I don't know if it's autism or if he has some kind of a mental thing that drives his character. While his character in Burnt doesn't have that. He's just an egotistical asshole that is a recovering alcoholic, drug user, just trying to put his life back together, but still an egotistical asshole when it comes to cooking. Yeah, but D tier. Chris?
I'm not trying to say that I often try to persuade the chat to vote one certain way, but I'm very willing to do a runoff poll on this one, meaning do a secondary poll. Didn't even bother to think of something clever for this one, and I'll tell you why. You'll also notice that each one of the choices on the list, other than C through F, I'll say no. C through F says yes. This is what happens when I'm in control of it. This is what you get. Every now and then there's a movie that I feel very strongly about. And it's odd that I feel strongly about this one because I don't remember a damn thing from it. I don't remember a damn thing from this movie. And here's the thing. I forgot everything that happened in this movie the second I was done watching it. I just know that I did not enjoy this movie. It was... The movie's called Burnt. This movie felt like a burnt piece of toast to me. So I don't even really want to sit here and dive any further into this. I'm sure Bradley Cooper did fine in it. I would have to rewatch it. I'm not going to. I'm not going to give this movie another fair shake. If I forgot everything from it right after watching it, it doesn't get a second viewing from me. Wasn't a fan. Not going to watch it again. It's an F tier for me. Yes. I have it right down there with the stuff. I do have it over the stuff though, because at least this one is an honest effort at making a movie.
Hey.
Eat it.
Shaving cream? Everyone has to eat shaving cream every once in a while.
Gross. Not true at all. Let's do this. I think I feel like I've done a good job convincing the audience here, but we'll just do this for funsies.
Jeremy, we very much appreciate the fact that you even you slightly suggest that we're one of the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. That'd be nice. That'd be fun. There's a couple of more steps and hurdles that we have to hit to be able to do that, but it's definitely in the realm of possibility, I would say.
I need to be able to speak with passion on every movie I see, like I did with Chef.
Yeah.
Whether for or against. That's a good first step to get to. After that, work on the professional side of actually getting there.
All right, so I said D, you said F. What does the chat think?
I think
you did it again.
Oh, look at that. Chat seems to be agreeing with me so far with one vote in. Yeah, you know what? We'll go ahead and end the poll on one vote for F. Yep, that works for me. Throw this thing in the F tier. What?
This is like the first episode of the Marquee that I would say like the polls are not are 100% completely biased.
Hey, you can give me a rigged in chat. I'm okay with it. On this one, it's fine. Movie's burnt.
And that's the thing, Garth. Like I know people who are on Rotten Tomatoes. A couple of people I actually know personally. I'm not name dropping, but
critics approved by Rotten Tomatoes, or people who actually work for the company of Rotten Tomatoes?
People who are like Rotten Tomatoes critics. There are ones that their opinions are given on Rotten Tomatoes. So Rotten Tomatoes at least honors them enough to publish their opinion and let them sway the tomato meter.
I'm sorry, did you say this was a D tier for you?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I feel like that means it needs to go above the stuff.
You were just trying to put the stuff in F tier, aren't you?
What? Who said that? Just move them both down to F tier. Just move them both down to F tier.
You know, 3 of these tiers are allowed to have 3 in it.
It ain't gonna be the D tier. Let's be honest about that. D tier's not gonna be the one to have 3 movies in it. Come on. We all know it's gonna be S, A, or F. Let's be honest about this.
Anyways, moving on.
I need to get another poll going.
Yeah, so next one. I'll be honest, I want to rewatch this one. The Founder. I do remember enough. The first time I watched, this was a movie that I didn't go see it in the theater, but the second it was available for me to watch at home, I think it was like that day I watched it. I worked at McDonald's when I was in high school. Not that I care about that, but I was at least, because working at McDonald's, I was at least familiar with who Ray Kroc was. And throughout my years since then of watching Food Network and hearing more and more about the story of McDonald's and stuff, when this movie was announced, I was like, okay, a biopic about Ray Kroc. That sounds interesting. And then when I heard Michael Keaton was starring, I was like, whoa, all right. And then like I read more and more who all's in this movie and how they're playing this movie. I was like, this movie's going to be good. Michael Keaton as Ray Kroc is first and foremost expert level casting. Even if you don't know who Ray Kroc is, if you go to a McDonald's and they have the plaque, most of them have a plaque up somewhere briefly talking about Ray Kroc. You read that and read the story and you see the face on the plaque, it's Michael Keaton. So yeah, this was some very good. This was MCU level casting on this. It's interesting because my takeaway on this is a biopic about someone who you probably don't care about. Like, no one cares about Ray Kroc. Most people don't even know who the hell Ray Kroc is.
Yeah.
But it was a good movie. The way they pulled this off and did it, first of all, he wasn't interested in making a restaurant. He was interested in selling milkshake machines. And then it was Ray Kroc who turned the idea of making a restaurant, instead of making money off of the restaurant itself, you make money off of the real estate, the property that the restaurant sits on. And that is why McDonald's is constantly like the number one highest rated profitable fast food restaurant in all of America, if not the world, because every single one of the McDonald's restaurants are all reliant on that mentality. It's also why the ice cream machine is always fucking broken, because they care more about the property than they do the ice cream machine. Those things are a pain in the ass to clean. So don't blame the workers. They just can't do it. anyways, this movie is so good. I loved this movie. And again, I'm actually ready for a rewatch on this. I should have rewatched it right before we did this, but I was a little worried that if I watched it again, I'd be like, oh, S tier. And it's not an S tier movie at all, but it is really good. Now, I'm going to say all this, and then I'm going to say what I'm ranking it as. I actually have this as a C. I know.
You put
you
stuff
think,
at A.
You would think I'm going to rank this like in an
You
A.
put the stuff at A.
I love this stuff. The stuff is such a good, entertaining.
No, you put the stuff at A, and you said this movie is not an S tier. God, get out of here.
I'm the one running this. You can't kick me out. The stuff is a fun, entertaining movie, especially on a rewatch. You watch the stuff over and over again. It's a fun movie. The Founder is a really well done biopic. If we were ranking biopic movies, which I can't wait to do because we will do that at some point. If we're ranking biopic movies, The Founder would be one of my well, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I would say it's going to be pretty close to S tier. But as far as food movies go, yeah, granted, there's not much food in this, but it is about the creation, a biopic about the beginnings of the most popular fast food restaurant ever. It's a good movie. I highly recommend it, but I still, compared to everything else on this list, I have it as a C. Chris, your turn to talk. Please.
S tier for literally all of the reasons my brother said, and yet for some reason still put the movie at C. It's an S tier movie. This is a fantastic movie. And honestly, AJ hit it in the chat here. I don't eat McDonald's that often, very rarely. Boom. This made me want at least a cheeseburger, something basic from McDonald's. Because it reminds me of like what I enjoyed about McDonald's when I was a kid.
The Happy Meal toys.
Well, I mean, besides the Happy Meal toys,
the Beanie Babies that I would bring home for you because
the good Happy Meal toys, not the cheap crap that they put in the. I guess they were always technically cheap crap, but they look a lot cheaper nowadays. Is what I'm saying. I've got old man syndrome, I guess, on this. I don't know. The point is, this was a fantastic movie. Michael Keaton, fantastic cast. Literally everything you said earlier. This is. I went into this movie going, I don't know what to expect out of this. It is a story. It's a biopic about the founder of McDonald's. That's why I use quotes.
Yeah.
That's why it's ironically titled The Founder. And I was like, this is not a subject. This is not a biopic. This is not, like you were saying earlier, I don't ever think about Ray Kroc. I have no reason to care about Ray Kroc. This is like, if you make a movie about the Walton family from Walmart, I don't care. I don't really want to see a story about them.
Not really, no.
I don't really care to see like a biopic of all these various companies' founders. Like I don't think they all need biopics. This movie though, the story, the way they presented it in the movie, at least, because I know when you're adapting real life to a movie, there's always going to be some changes, always going to be some liberties taken. The way they presented it in this movie was a fascinating film. The way they presented,
most of it was truthful, actually.
I mean, I just assume there's some liberties taken here.
Yeah,
you got to fill in some gaps that aren't recorded down in history somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
The casting was great. Again, this movie makes me want to have a McDonald's cheeseburger, and you got to do something special because I could watch McDonald's commercials all day, and none of them make me want to have a McDonald's cheeseburger. So you got to do something fancy to actually make me want to go out and get a McDonald's cheeseburger, even though they're fine. They're fine. You know, if we're doing a fast food tier list, I would maybe still put McDonald's up higher just because of the tradition of it. But there's better fast food burgers. Anyway, that's off track. It's
Burger King.
Point. What?
Burger King is better than McDonald's as far as the food goes.
Nobody ever talks about Burger King. Anyway, The Founder is an S tier movie for me. It's an S tier movie for him too. I don't know why he said C. I think he got his letters confused. but he tried to put the stuff over this that's dumb. Chat, I need y'all to like be behind me. It'd be great. It'd be great if we got one more vote here.
It's gonna sound weird, but I'm okay with it going to S tier also. I mean, so here's the thing: as we do the marquees, is it possible for me to be able to change my vote in the middle of the marquee? I wrote it up as a C tier.
I mean, theoretically, no one's stopping you, but it's good to shift things around, like in the back end.
I do remember enjoying this movie, and we do have the ability to put 3 movies in S tier still. We could put The Founder in S tier. I wouldn't hate it. I'm not going to argue against it. I would absolutely allow it, and especially the fact that I'm the one in control of the marquee, I'll put it there.
There's 2 really solid movies remaining on this list after this, though, that I have probably lower than I probably should, but
same.
Okay. It's okay. The chat will make up for that, I'm sure, on both of these. For me, this is the S tier. I'm just gonna round the chat and say that they vote A tier. We got an S, A, and a B on 3 votes. I'm gonna say they're saying A tier, so we got an S and A, and then whatever you said, whatever stupid crap came out of your mouth. Oh, he says S. Okay, cool.
Did I say C? I don't mean C. No. The oil on the fries were changed because of the whole issue of saturated fats in the late 90s, I believe. When I worked there, so I worked there in the mid to late 90s, and I feel like I remember it being gigantic jugs of peanut oil. I think it has changed from that since I worked there because of that. But anyways, is that what? So it was beef tallow before, and then they changed it to peanut oil because of the saturated fats issue. Because it definitely was not beef tallow when I worked there. So.
Beef Burgundy.
Bouf bourguignon.
Bouf bourguignon.
Oh yeah, not saturated fat, the trans fat. Yeah.
My brain's like, I'm sure it's peanut oil.
Either way, the fries at McDonald's are still like S tier level fries. So,
people can eat peanut oil, nut allergies and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if that I would assume it does, but
peanut oil is still a concern for people with peanut allergies.
I would assume it is.
Yeah.
What do I know? I've been wrong on things that seem blatantly obvious before, so
yeah. Anyways, next one, we are down to the last 2.
And I feel like I know, generally speaking, where chat is going to vote on both of these.
So the next one, because Pig is a very highly respected movie. We did Pig before on the Nicolas Cage ranking, and this was one that it was the 2 of us with Lego, who is a massive Nicolas Cage fan, and also Maxwell joined us. So the 2 of us, me, and Lego were kind of iffy on it, and Maxwell had it like S tier, just because of the writing, the story, the performance, and all of that into consideration. Absolutely,
AJ, I knew it. I knew that was gonna happen.
What?
AJ's comment in the chat.
Yeah, he said, "Fuck what."
Because he didn't know all the movies that we were gonna rank. So we bringing up a new one. He's like, dang it.
Yeah.
That one's S tier also.
So, I mean, kind of like the same when we did the Nick Cage ranking. I don't have this as S tier. I completely understand why Maxwell put it there. And I get that. I get that sentiment for the movie. It doesn't rank that high for me on Nicolas Cage movies. It doesn't rank that high for me on food movies here. Mainly because when we first put this ahead, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this was a a movie that really deals with food. I mean, I was aware of the fact that his pet pig is a truffle hunting pig.
You forgot that he was a chef.
I forgot he was a chef. And then I remembered that one scene where he went to the restaurant with like his sous chef that was running it. And he was basically just berating his sous chef, who again fell into that cliche of being an arrogant chef. But the problem was Nicolas Cage's character knew better and knew not to let him have that ego-driven head chef title. This was a good movie. It's a hard movie to watch, but it is definitely a good movie. It is definitely one of Nicolas Cage's finest.
His performances, yeah.
I didn't connect with it as much. It was a little too slow for me. I have this at B. This is a B tier movie. So,
yeah. So I'm at the point with this movie where when I first watched it, I went in with it without knowing what the movie was going to be. And
freaking AJ.
I want to read a comment.
Pig is my favorite movie of all time. I'm going to bribe you to make this S tier. This movie shook me for several days. It was an important part of grieving the death of my father. Also bribery. God, AJ. Like, I'm laughing at your comment, but then you get to the part about the death of your father. I'm like, I'm not supposed to laugh at this anymore.
I'm not saying that you guys can bribe and change our opinions with money, because that would just be wrong.
This is a high movie, definitely.
There is a reason why we have the chat poll going. There's definitely a reason why we have the chat poll going. We appreciate the donation. We do. So this movie, it suffers in my brain from the fact that I had a completely different idea of what this movie was going to be based off of what people were saying and what people were talking about. I thought it was going to be a more action movie. I thought it was going to be basically John Wick with a pig instead of a dog. And I was like, Nicolas Cage is a John Wick style action star, and he's going after a pig. Look at this. Look at the photo, the poster. Looks hard AF, you know? That's an action movie if I ever seen one. No, it wasn't. And so when you're like preparing in your mind to go into like a super awesome action movie, and what you get is what this movie actually was, which was a more introspective, emotional, and just a really solid drama movie. Really quiet, really kind of low key, but just a very like character driven story with him. It kind of throws you off a little bit. So I was thrown off when I first saw this movie. So I will say this movie does require a rewatch from me at some point, when I can go into it now knowing properly what this movie is about and what it's like. Then I can give this movie a fair shake. That being said, I'm going to keep that in mind as I'm ranking it, because I would have otherwise probably ranked it lower. I will keep in mind now that it is, I can't let the situation of what I thought the movie was going to be going into it affect what the movie actually is. I'm going to rank this also at a B, knowing full well too that the way they present food and the way it's done in this movie is also just as equally as good as any of these other movies that we have, you know, ranking high up here, that shows off food, that shows like the chef process and cooking and everything. I thought they did an expert job at showing him as a chef and his process and everything he did. So I rank this also at a B for myself. But it's mid B. It's mid B for me. So wherever we end up landing that. Chad is voting S. So we got 2 B's and an S. So I think that is low A right now.
So we got a Streamlabs from Garth. Says, I'm with AJ, make pig S tier. This movie is the best movie of 2021. It helped me deal with the death of my mother in October of 2021. If this is not an S tier, then take my wrench away. I ain't fighting the porn spam bots anymore.
So, in order to keep the Marquee fair and above water, we can't actually put things at various tiers based off money received. We appreciate the donations, we appreciate the support, but we can't do that.
Right after we make the joke about you rigging the Marquee because of
that wasn't a real rig, though. People could vote whatever they wanted.
Yeah,
that was a joke.
Here's the thing, like, because of the passion that I've seen from people on this movie, not just on the Nicolas Cage Marquee, but like obviously now this one, this is going to make me want to go back and revisit Pig.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm not going to do it next week.
Not in the mood right now. You gotta be in the right frame of mind and mood to go back and revisit it.
Now that I know what Pig is capable of doing, I now know, like, I have a better idea of how to approach it, how to talk about it, how to watch it, listen to it, everything.
Yeah.
Which in some cases, I'll be honest, I've been like that with movies. I absolutely hated The Big Lebowski the first time I watched it. And then I watched it again in a better frame of mind because I knew what movie I was getting into. And I absolutely adore The Big Lebowski now. So, yeah, that movie went from like an F to an S tier for me. It's possible that other movies are going to do that. I doubt it's going to happen with No Reservations because I'm probably not going to watch it again or even be able to say its name. But eventually, I'm very likely going to watch Pig again because it was a good movie. And the passion that I see that everyone has, I will want to revisit it.
Here's the compromise I'm willing to make with the chat here. And I'll go for this. I'll go this far on this.
Garth, that's so dark. Stop.
It's awful. Yeah. Since we said 2 Bs and an S, which will put it in the A tier, technically that would put it at the bottom of the A tier. I would be willing to compromise and put it at the top of the A tier.
I could see putting it at the top of A tier. If it's 2 Bs and an S, I'm okay with it being at the top of A.
Yeah. Just because, again, this is a movie that we both regard that we need to rewatch again with a different frame of mind, in which case I believe that we will probably end up ranking it higher in future times that it might show up in any Marquee going forward. Don't quote me on that. I don't know what my mindset will be in the future.
Yeah. That being said, if we're going to put this at the top of A, that is going to effectively achieve what you were wanting to do, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Bert that did it. It was Pig.
The stuff's got to move down to F.
Mm-hmm. Which means we're going to be here for a while I move these around.
We could push Burn down there too. It's fine.
Damn it! What movie did I just cover up? Oh wait, Waitress. You know what? Let's go from the other end.
That's a phrase to say.
It's not one I say very often. Or it's not actually a phrase I say at all, actually, come to think of it.
No, just put, why is Julie and Julia moving? What's happening?
Hold on.
Julie and
Hold on. Just hold your horses before you cook them.
No one's cooking horse here.
And that you should. I mean,
all right, move Julie and Julia back up to A and you're good. Just move Julie and Julia back up to A.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're taking the easy route. Okay.
Because right now we only need 3 tiers with 3 movies in it. So just move Julie and Julia back up to A.
That's okay.
It's all right, guys. We'll both be on the same page at some point here. Nothing else needs to shift until we add another one that causes things to shift.
Like Garth. Move Burnt to F tier to save yourself some time.
I mean, I'm going to push for that at the end. So.
That's what I realized, Garth, that I should have just started at the bottom first.
Sorry, from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that was Pig. That leaves us with one last one. And this is going to be interesting because we have yet to talk about this movie since we've seen it. That would be the menu.
So this is effectively going to be our review too.
This is going to be kind of a review for it. We're going to keep this spoiler free though, because I know this movie has like an air of mystery to it. What exactly the hell is going on in this movie? If you've only seen the trailer, this movie is very intriguing, and I feel like the intriguingness of the trailer is very, very well placed with this movie. Both of us went into this movie not knowing what the hell's going on, and as the movie played out, we're like, this is interesting. This is very weird what they're doing with this movie. I know. So what I wrote up earlier when I was thinking straight, this is a bonkers movie that is all over the place, but needs time to marinate after watching. I did not walk out of this movie going, oh, I understood all of that movie completely 100%. I had to think about this movie for a while. Not knowing what is happening, but hearing all the pretentious food talk was a whole lot of fun. There's a lot of layers to uncover, and this will be a very entertaining rewatch. This is one of those movies I cannot wait to watch it again once it's available on whatever streaming service it ends up being on once it is available. Yeah. I don't even know if I want to go into like what the meaning of this movie is, because I feel like even saying that gives away what this movie is.
There's a way.
Well, I will let you handle that then. You talk about it, and then we'll give our tier rankings of it.
So, I will say probably my favorite aspect, and it's the one that I'm still chewing on. Yes, I love these food metaphors, similes, whatever. There are aspects of this movie that I really enjoyed thinking about, chewing on, pontificating over. I don't know why that word hit my head first. And that is that this movie presents itself like a multiple course meal in which you are experiencing a different metaphor, a different what's the word? A different message. There's a different message being told, I think, with each meal, with each course, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to take a rewatch to really kind of fully wrap my brain around every single message the movie was giving off. But it's the fact that the movie, I think, was giving off multiple messages and not just one solid, clear one. I think there was something overarching to it, but there's different bite-sized pieces that this movie was showing off. Yeah, hey, they all work.
It works. It's legit.
There's different bite-sized pieces this movie was showing off with each course that I was like, okay, I think I understand what they're saying here. I understand what they're saying. And it's all, I think it was like expertly crafted. It was expertly written, put together. And as a whole, the movie works very well as a dark comedy. There was the comedy in the movie, how it's presented is absolutely hilarious. Yeah.
All Tyler's bullshit.
Yeah. That AJ hits a joke in the movie. We're not going to dive into like specifically what that joke means, but there's the way they presented humor in this movie. They nailed it perfectly. It was
very dark.
It's very dark, but it is still actually very, very funny.
I would have at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the Marquee or this particular review, I would have immediately said, here's your amuse-bouche of before starting
so
this.
The way they introduced the movie to us is a very good amuse-bouche. I'm not going to say that properly. So
it works.
Ray Fiennes' character is terrifying, but also, I don't know.
Once you get the idea And again, this is something I learned in retrospect after coming home and thinking about this movie. He's very respectable. There's a respectable quality to him.
Yeah.
And how he has orchestrated this entire, not just the movie, because essentially it is Ray Fiennes is in control of the whole movie, but also in control of the dinner that's taking place in the movie. Did you like it enough? Yeah, I want to go back for seconds on this. I want to watch this movie again. Mainly because the trailers made it look like a horror movie. So again, I'll drop the curtain on this. This one was a little bit worried about like how far is this movie gonna push that horror, the
violent side. Is there a heavy violent? Is there a gory nature to this movie?
There is a little bit of a violent side,
but I was perfectly okay with it.
But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
It's easily handleable by me, so it wasn't. If anybody else out there is concerned, just know I'm cool with it.
It's okay. So. Yeah. The Taco Night speech deserves a nomination. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just there was so much stuff they did in this movie that was really good. But yeah, it took some really hard thinking about mulling it over after watching the movie. It's not one you're just going to walk out like, that was a good movie. I'm glad I saw that. No, you're going to have to think about this one for a bit.
Yeah.
And I almost I don't think there's a single person that's going to be capable of completely 100% understanding everything from this movie off of the first initial watch. It is going to take another watch to understand the layers of it.
Which sometimes the best movies do that. So
yeah,
a lot of times.
And they make you want to do that. They make you want to come back for seconds to watch it again. That makes this movie really well done.
Yeah.
As far as ranking goes,
Sure.
I'm kind of in between. How do you rank a movie? I'm not 100% certain if I should take rewatch into it. For example, off the initial watch of was it Everything Everywhere All at Once? It was okay, I guess. I need to rewatch it to understand the fine notes of it, kind of like The Menu. Although that one was a lot more bonkers. I don't want to rank a movie based on the fact that it needs a rewatch to be able to fully understand and enjoy the movie.
Yeah, some people might say that that's a detractor, but I think that's actually. I think it depends on the movie. Context is everything. It depends on the movie. Sometimes it's actually a plus for the movie.
Well, I will tell you, from a business standpoint, one of the best things you could get as a business, whether you're a restaurant, fast food restaurant, whatever,
business.
Great example is repeat business. If they sell you food and you like the food and you come back, that's a success. That is a positive. And the fact that I want to go back and I want to watch The Menu again, I want to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once again. That is a success, even though I may not have felt highly about Everything Everywhere All at Once. And please, good Lord, can we shorten that title?
EEAAO.
Yeah, that's not much better.
EEAO.
What are we, Freddie Mercury?
Song.
It's a Freddie Mercury Queen song. That's great. The Menu is definitely a movie that I want to rewatch again. I have it off of my initial watch. I have this as a B tier, but I'm almost willing to bet it is going to go higher. Just because I love also hearing Ray Fiennes talking about pretentious food.
Yeah, for me, this is also a movie that probably ranks higher upon rewatches too. But for right now, I have it in the B tier. I thought it was, when I came out of the movie initially, I thought it was fine. It was good. Thinking about it since having seen it, giving more time to mull it over, I definitely think it's going to end up being a lot better than my initial ranking says. But for the time being, based on the fact that there's other movies on this list that are currently ranked higher that I just prefer right now, I just liked more than on their initial viewings, than I liked the menu on its initial viewing. For me, the menu lands squarely in the B tier.
I'm also trying to think. So far,
Garth is right. I was just thinking that too. Like we could have put EIO in here because of the bagel.
I think this may actually be probably my favorite Anya Taylor-Joy movie. Last Night in Soho was close though.
Ooh.
And I'm going to, like, even though I don't think highly of the New Mutants, her character as Ilyana was really good. She was a
Whoa, Demon Bear here. You better rate that movie higher. What are you talking about?
Hey, who let the Cocaine Bear in here?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Cocaine Bear now.
Anyways, so I have it at B. You have it at B. Where does the chat have it?
S and B. We only got 2 votes in chat, which means we need some tie-breaking votes if y'all want to get in there and tie-break this mug. That's true. I don't know how many others of you guys in the chat have seen this movie. If no one else, then, of course we'll.
The downside to that means there's going to be a huge, massive amount of shifting going on. You know what? Here's the thing. Since there's only one in F, while we're waiting for the chat, I might as well just stick Burnt down there.
I would put Burnt
F going to go down there anyways.
Burnt F waiting down in D.
Yeah. And we'll just stick this on whatever ends up being like the third.
Yeah, we'll make it one of the top 3 tiers. So I have the menu way above Sideways, personally.
Man, I could see that.
I have the Waitress right above menu. So for me right now, maybe it sits in that middle place in the B tier between Waitress and Sideways, but I can see an argument for it being at the top of the B tier for sure.
Did you say kick Waiting down to D?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can put Waiting on either side of No Reservations. I don't really care at this point. Trying to think if there's anything else I would shift around.
Well, let's give it a second for this to shake out, and then
I think it's shaking out as much as it's possible. So we got a vote for S and a vote for B, which means if there's only 2 votes we got in there, and those are the 2 votes, that means they even out with an A tier vote. I haven't had enough wine to know whether or not I would like a Merlot or not.
I don't know how much you like dry wines.
Here's the thing. In my very limited taste of wine, I like the stuff that tastes like juice. So, was that a Moscato?
Yeah, you're more like a Moscato or Riesling.
Give me something sweet. Give me the one that's dangerous.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like alcohol, but it has a lot in it.
Okay, so where are we sticking the menu? I know 2 of us got B. What does the chat have?
Chat is... We got 3 votes in chat for one. It's leading B. Whoops. Yeah, leading B right now. Apparently I went backspace for some reason. There we go.
Okay. So we'll call it at B. So that's 3 for B. We'll just stick it in B. That was easy.
But I mean, now we talk about where in B it lands if we're getting all these votes for B.
Yeah.
I could
I'm actually
putting
okay
it
with
above
that.
Waitress.
I'm okay with the menu being where it's at right now, below Waitress and Sideways.
I definitely want it over Sideways.
Okay.
Sideways was D tier for me.
So I will take that as far as if we're going to bring into the conversation the rewatchability. Sideways I thought was really good, but there's not much of a chance I'm going to rewatch Sideways.
No, I'm never going to watch
if I
Sideways
have the
again.
choice. The menu, again, I want to rewatch that as soon as possible. So, But yeah, like I walked away from watching The Waitress enjoying that movie. It was like, so it doesn't need to go above Waitress. So are we good with where that's at?
Other than the fact that I argue no reservations over Waiting, but I don't really care if that doesn't move.
I can't see doing that. Yeah, I didn't. I've watched Waiting so many times that it's a personal connection to working in a restaurant versus recognizing what the cliches were and just recognizing that they did it terribly. Like, that's what I feel like that's a battle over.
Other than that, I did have Ratatouille in the S tier, but I did put Willy Wonka in the A. Willy Wonka landed in S, though.
I don't see anything on here that I feel like I necessarily need to fight for, mainly because no one else is going to entertain my opinion of putting the stuff much higher.
Absolutely not. Nope.
So, and I know there's a couple of things on here. There's a couple of movies missing. Like we did Sideways because it caters heavily to wine. So why didn't we put Beer Fest on here? Just didn't think of it. Possibly that might be a part of it. There's also, I know someone was talking about earlier, there's no cannibal movies on here. Mainly because I feel like cannibal movies are such a huge thing of their own. They're going to be their own marquee at some point in the future. So,
and there's only going to be a couple of those movies I could probably even participate on.
Yeah, and very likely that one Chris won't be able to be a part of. I will tell you behind the scenes, I was fighting to try to get Sweeney Todd on here. Not only because of the cannibalism, but it does involve meat pies. Now, what's in the meat pies doesn't matter in this case.
It's the cannibalism. What are you talking about?
But it's the fact that there's meat pies that are a big part of the story. So
human meat.
Sure, it doesn't matter what the meat is made of. I do like the fact that she says the phrase "popping pussies into pies" at some point in the movie, and that was pretty good. Yeah, I was trying to get my brother to watch Sweeney Todd. I want him to watch Sweeney Todd.
At some point, maybe I will. But
there's a lot of this where I might be using the marquee to try to make my brother watch movies that I want him to watch. But
I mean, I've seen the Alien and Aliens now, so of course one of those was because I wanted a movie to watch for my 1000th, my 999th and 1000th movies. So,
anyways, yeah, there's a couple of others that I saw when trying to put together the list, like Big Night. I saw a Big Night on there. I saw Hero Dreams of Sushi. I saw like all these other ones, and I read up on them and tried to decipher what would make sense when talking about food movies. And just some of those, I just decided they don't cut the mustard. No? Okay. Anyways.
I'm going to do something different this time.
Anyways, this is where he just doesn't want to be on screen with us. This is where the list is going to land. So feel free to comment and share about this on Twitter tomorrow because I'll have it posted up.
And we're sure that there's going to be a couple of things on there that people are going to be like, how dare? And it's only going to be because Ratatouille is one space ahead of Julie and Julia or something like that.
I could definitely see that there's probably going to be, this is what's going to be fun. We need to start doing these on the marquee. I could see people giving us some grief about like where Good Burger is placed, because I understand that Good Burger is usually ranked very high for most people. So that would probably be the one that I think people would probably scream at the most. There's also probably going to be some people that think that we should rank Willy Wonka much lower.
It's true.
But otherwise, I don't see too many complaints really about this.
I'm going to tell y'all, I'm a nice person. I'm very kind. I'm very easygoing. I can get along with most things. But if anybody on Twitter tells me that Chef is too high, they're going to eat it.
And not in a Michael Jackson way. Just
No, that's Weird Al.
oh yeah, that's right. No, Weird Al came up with his song first. Michael Jackson.
Oh, right. Yeah. Weird Al definitely came up with the song first. Got it. Yes, for sure.
If y'all seen Weird, the Al Yankovic story, you get that joke. Anyways, let's go ahead and have Carl remove the marquee. So, Carl. I was not ready for this.
Carl
was way too quick. I'm going to slow Carl's ass down one of these days just to make sure. Anyways, that was the marquee for tonight. I know I say Carl, but I'm like, Coral. Real quick before everyone hightails it and leaves, because I mean, technically the show is about over. I want to make sure everyone knows what's coming up in 2 weeks. For the month of December, there will be 2 marquees. The first marquee, it's going to seem a little bit weird, but we're going to bring back the Tears for Fears on December 9th, Friday, December 9th, in 2 weeks. We will be doing the marquee again without Chris because it's horror movies, but we are going to be tackling one of my favorite subjects ever in horror movies, and that is going to be specifically the Christmas horror movies. That's right. We're mixing both the Halloween with Christmas and just diving deep into the super insane versions of Christmas horror movies. Primarily, it's usually Santa's the killer, but we'll talk about that.
It's the spirit of giving. Death.
Yeah. Joining me on that marquee on December 9th at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. I will be joined by, of course, we're talking about horror. I have to bring back Lego and Andres Gallego. This is going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to talk about these movies because there's so many. This is a category of movies that even if they're bad, they're good. And I cannot wait. So in 2 weeks, join us for Christmas horror. If you are a part of our Patreon, the list of what movies that we are tier ranking is already up on the Marquee channel. If you have an interest in that, go look at those. Go watch them real quick so you can rank them live with us. We're not going to be doing the poll in the chat like we did with this one. Just because there's 3 of us already on the show giving opinion. It's gonna be a bit. But we're going to have a lot of fun with that because there's so many good cheesy horror movies. And I love a good cheesy horror movie, especially a horror movie about Christmas. It's going to be awesome. So make sure you come back for that. Anything else before we close out this show, Chris?
Yeah, none of those movies count as Christmas movies.
Oh, that's a nice little segue to bring up. Make sure y'all are checking out the Cinefanatics podcast. I understand 100% completely. If you can't listen or watch or whatever the episode 2 about Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it's a rough one to listen to. It's all right. We get it. We had a fun conversation. If you can sit through it, awesome. Enjoy it because at least the conversation was good. I understand the audio's bad. Get it. The next one, the audio is fantastic and it's going to be really good. We're talking about whodunit movies. So that will be on Tuesday. So make sure to check that out. The one after that, I'm not going to fully give it away yet, but it is going to be the subject to talk about going into the Christmas season, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. We haven't filmed it yet, but I am super eager. I'm like chomping at the bit to film this one because I feel like this is the one that we could talk about for a good long time to just really nail this subject.
And we're going to do it in an hour.
And we're going to try to do it within an hour. So make sure y'all check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. Still working on the Apple podcast things. I'll get that fixed probably within the next week or so.
Yeah, you will.
Otherwise, yeah, I want it prepared for that next one that we're going to record because that is going to be a good pivotal podcast episode for us. otherwise, yeah, make sure you check that out. It's going to be on YouTube with the video and everything. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Otherwise, yeah, make sure you follow us at CineFanaticsMLP on Twitter and Instagram. And I do have it up on, Hive. I haven't been like really using Hive that much so far, but
is anybody?
I don't know yet, but we'll see. I may continue to grow that out depending on what's happening with Twitter. Who knows? But yeah, you can at least find us at Twitter, Instagram, CineFanaticsMLP. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can also follow me at youtube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP.
And then you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP as well.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank y'all for watching. I hope everyone's good and full of marquee and tier rankings, because that means we did our job properly. I'm going to go eat some Thanksgiving leftovers. Y'all have a great evening. Good night. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.